Hello and welcome back to Jody Lewis Creations. This is Saturday morning and we are going to get back to these pieces here. So if you watched the last video, I had some questions about the Art Basics Spin-A-Bar Clear Gesso because it yellowed my Alice book pages, right? And then in that video, I did a swipe on this plain white and it didn't do it with the white. So it's definitely a chemical reaction with the book pages. So that's good to know. So I will circle back to when I said test on a piece of paper, you know, a scrap or something so that you know how your gesso is going to react with your piece. Like I never expected it to yellow, and it does not yellow in my Bible. So when it did this, I truly was quite surprised. So now what we're gonna do, and this is a different conversation, so we'll talk about those in a minute. Woke up at 3, well, I'll talk about it now, so I woke up at 2:30 this morning, and I laid there for an hour, and I was like, I should have done this, and I should have done that, and I should have done this first. So we'll see how these transpire, because I should have done a base of white napkin over, and then inked and did whatever, and then put these on top because these are the pieces that I wanted to be my focal pieces. So I did this really backwards, but I'm gonna go with it because I don't wanna waste these playing cards. I love the backs on them. And even if we lose these images in the process, I mean, I do still have another one of these napkins, so I could take the same images off of another napkin, or we'll just have to find something on here and be happy with it. I mean, we've got the Queen, the Bunny, the Mad Hatter. We have pieces or pictures on this still that will be fine to work with. So that is where I was with that. I mean, I laid there for an hour thinking about this last night, and I just was like, oh, I know better. But because I'm in my headspace that I'm in, I just didn't do what I knew to do. So anyway, we'll have to work through these. And some of you were probably yelling at me saying, you're doing that backwards. But anyway, it's fine. It will work out. So let's work on this lizard first. And I do have my pit pins here. They're the Faber-Castell pit pins, and I just dumped them out in a pile. I usually keep them in this little bag. But I wanted to just see. Now, in a perfect world, the reason I gessoed these is I should be able to move the ink. Should being the operative word, because these pages aren't reacting like they should with the gesso. We'll see. And I don't really have, maybe down here on the corner, we'll test one and see if it moves like I'm wanting it to. Yes, okay. It's gonna smudge like I want it to. Yay. So there's that. That's a good thing. So with this lizard, I don't know. I think on him, I definitely want to do some greens. So I think I'm going to do a darker green and just kind of highlight around the edge of him. So let's just see what happens here. And I'm going to pull that toward the inner part of his body. I hope that you can see this. I don't want to zoom in too far. But anyway, so I'm just going to go around the outside of his body, and I'm going to pull that ink to the inside, okay? So I'll come back when I've got the lizard done. I'm really excited. It's moving like I want it to move. It's doing what I want it to do. So my first layer was this chromium green opaque number 174. So I kind of just went around the outside outline and just smudged it to the inside. So now I'm going to go with a permanent olive green, which appears to be a slightly lighter green. And I'm just going to kind of add a little bit like, oh, it is not lighter at all. Test on a different piece of paper. Okay, so X that one. This one is a May green. So we'll just test a little here, which also seems to be a much greener green. So we're going to go back to this one, and it's okay because it's on the back of his neck. So it's going to just add like a shadow. And I'm just going to go through, I wanted to kind of highlight his back here, but it's okay. We're just going to leave it. And you know what? Because I did that, maybe I'll just add a couple of dots or something of this color just to kind of tie in so it doesn't look like I did a big whoopsie there, right? Just give him a few speckles. And guys, remember, it's okay to mess up. It's okay for it to not be perfect. You know, you'll come back to it at some point and be like, oh, it's okay. So, yeah, just don't worry about it. It's just having a little bit of play. Oh, look, I forgot his tail. Now, you can see on my fingers I'm smudging this. But I think I have to figure out how I'm going to do his little tail here, because I just completely missed that. So I just am doing just a small amount of ink there, and just very lightly, and then I'm just gonna dab it off. I'm not smudging it really, I'm just dabbing just to kind of, it'll move it a little bit, and it's kind of, there's a few places where it colored outside the lines, but that's okay. It's okay because of the type of art that it is. So it looks like maybe this is some grass here, I don't know. So let's see. I mean, that is so not the color green I would have expected it to be. But I'm just gonna move it around a little in the blades of grass, okay? And get just a little color in the grass. And then we're gonna pick a color for the house. Okay, so I did just a little dab of blue on the rabbit's coat, and I just feel like it's a little much, okay? But I can't really do much with it because he's so tiny, I'm gonna smear it. And then I've got this Indian Red number 192. And so I thought I would just do this on the bricks, and I thought, oh no, it's not moving like I want it to. So I got the baby wipe out, and I just kind of am gonna see it's moving it. The moisture of that's moving that ink on the on that gesso. And it's not perfect, and that's okay. I don't mind if it's perfect. Now, something to note with your Pitt pens. You cannot use your Pitt pen on a wet surface. It will ruin the tips. Believe me, I've ruined my medium one. It doesn't want to really write anymore. I thought I had dried the piece I was working on, and apparently it was still damp, and now that one barely writes, and I'm really frustrated because that's the nib that I like the most on it. So I should have done this in just a few spots and then went to move it, but I didn't. I made a mistake. So I'm gonna let that part dry, and just remember that the Indian Red is what I'm using on the chimney. And now I wanna do the roof, and I wanna go with I think on the house, I'm gonna do the house a little bit of yellow, just a touch of yellow, just for some color. And then I'm gonna do the roof, and then that's it. I'm not gonna do the animals. I don't have a gray like to do the mouse, and I don't wanna do the bird. And I just did that little bit of blue on the rabbit's coat. And none of my blues were quite light enough for what I was doing. And now I'm smearing it too far. But because that gesso is there, I can get most of it off where I don't want it. So that's a positive thing. So I'm gonna let it dry for a second, work on the roof, work on the house, and then I'll come back. I just talked a whole segment about finishing this lizard and everything, and I was not recording. My brain, I tell ya, and you guys know I'm not super techy anyway. I finished the lizard, and now I have to remember which order I did. On the roof, I did the green gold 268 on the horizontal lines and smudged it. Then I wanted some more dimension, so I went over with Caput Mortem. If I'm saying that wrong, please give me some grace. Caput Mortem 169 for some dimension there, some shading. On the house, I did Cadmium Yellow 107, and again followed the horizontal lines. I did the Indian Red on the chimney and just smooshed that. I did go around the outside with the Distress ink, and I stenciled the back. So this is a stencil that I actually have commercial rights to the design. So I'm thinking about cutting some of those and putting them in my Etsy. We'll see how they work out. Anyway, so he's done. I'm going to do the Mad Hatter. It needs backed with something else because it's not sturdy enough to be a tuck, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna get him colored, and then when we're done with coloring him, I'll work on the artist trading cards. I'm really excited. I wanted to share with you that I am going to be featured in the next issue of the Foxy Rag. So I'm really excited about that. I'm grateful to Tracy and Jay, and they're going to, they did a spread on me, which was really cool. And anyway, so that'll be in the next issue of the Foxy Rag, and I will definitely get that link in the video that is appropriate for when that magazine is released. And it's Tracy Fox from the Foxy Creative, so I'm really excited. I just think that it's awesome that they said yes to featuring me, so yay. Anyway, so I'm gonna get this colored, and then I'll come back when we're ready to do the playing cards. Okay, so he's done for now, and I'll show you the colors that I used. Okay, so I just wanted to add some brightness to him. So for his, any of the yellow is this dark cadmium yellow 108. Okay, so smudging. Oh, and be aware, if you're doing this method, have your wipe and do your fingers in between each color, because I went from I started at the top and kind of went my way down. So I went from black and didn't realize that I had very much on my finger, but it was enough to taint the yellow. So I had to wipe it off and start over with the yellow. And again, remember, only on dry surfaces. You'll ruin your pen. Anyway, so I wiped it off and started over. So just in between colors, clean your fingertips so you're not distorting your colors. Okay, so his hair, I just did a little bit of terracotta, 186, just for a little color there. The pink on his bow tie and his vest is this pink, oh my goodness, I've got a pink carmine, 127. The purple is purple violet, 136. The gold on his stopwatch and chain is my Jelly Roll pen. And the silver, I just did a little bit of silver highlight in the hat and on his little vest buttons. This is just my Pentel pen that I use for silver. So anyway, that's that. So the pit pens can be put away. I'm going to set him aside, and then we'll start working on the artist trading cards. Okay, so here's what I've decided to do with these. I have my sanding block. And I'm just gonna sand it, go over it with white layer. I'm gonna play with some inks a little bit and some texture paste, and see what I come up with. I'm not gonna film the whole process, but when I come back, I'll tell you what I decide to do, because I have to think my way through this, and I am really bummed because I love this one. So maybe I won't do that, but I don't love this one. You know what? Let's do this. Let's work on her. Let's just do a little bit of let's see, that's my sanding block. And I don't even think I'm going to use the texture paste on her. Let's go with the Seedless Grapes ink oxide. This is oxide. And let's just see what happens. Excuse me. Go around the edges a little and get a wipe here. I don't know what I'm doing, so you're seeing this unfold as it's happening. You see, I did get that on her face, which I really didn't want to do, but maybe we can wipe it off. Good enough. So just a little bit of background color on her, and even that's better than what it was, so I'll go with it. All right, let's do that. And then I'm going to bring in some blue somehow. Oh, maybe we can just cover her face, water down some blue acrylic, and do a little splatter. Let's try that. Oh my goodness, I did it again. Thought I was filming. So I went to try to do my Stabilo on her, and it wasn't moving like I wanted it to. So I decided I'm going to start over. So I just have my sanding block, and I'm just going over the top ever so slightly, and it's kind of pushing her to the background, and I'm okay with that. And so I'm just gonna see where this takes me now. I'm just gonna go with it. I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm just gonna do it. But I like how that Seedless Preserves is staying on there like that. I'm sure that's very loud, so I'll come back. Okay, squish just a smidgen of Seedless Preserves there. I don't want a lot. I just wanted a little bit, okay? And I'm just gonna, I don't want to get my pencil wet. Let's put that, I should just put it away. Oh, I need to get a new background because that's soaking through. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna let these dry. Or I'm gonna dry them, I mean. Oh, that's why, because I hit it with my sanding block. But there's nothing underneath here, so it'll be all right. So I'm gonna dry these with my heat tool, and I'll be back when I decide what I'm gonna do next, which I don't know, so. Okay, so I've got my twisted citron out. I dried seedless preserves. I'm gonna go over this with a layer of clear gesso and dry it because I don't want the splatters of the citron, twisted citron, to react with the pink in the background because red and green make brown, and we don't want that. And I can still see a little bit of the Stabilo pencil where I tried to do that around her, but that's okay. It's just all layers, so it's fine. And I thought, I was looking at the greenery of the flowers on here, and I thought, oh, the twisted citron, I hardly ever use that because it's such a bright color. And so we're gonna try it and see how it does with this. And I really, really, really hope I don't ruin these because I do like these cards. The upside is that I do have one more of each of the designs, but so worst case, I can just cover this and make them journaling cards, but that seems like a waste. So let me dry this off and see where that leaves us. Okay, so I've dried off the gesso. I've got a little bit of the twisted citron here, and I don't know. Okay, so that's not gonna splatter like I want it to. I mean, you know what? Yep, the squirty bottle. And maybe I just want to dip it. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Like I said, I hardly ever use this color because it's so bright. But it's, I think, good for this brightness of this journal. And I think, oh, this one's going to go in the other one, so maybe you don't want this one as bright. Let me get that off of the lion and off of his kind of whatever it is he's wearing. Just gonna push that in the background. Okay, and get that off of her head. Okay, I'm gonna dry that. That's like way bright. All right, and I gotta get my other mat on here. Okay, so I'm gonna dry this and then figure out where I'm gonna go from here because I don't know. And this water brushes, I bought them and I'm not overly enthused with them. I think I got them at Hobby Lobby maybe. But anyway, they just don't squeeze very easily when I don't like that because it hurts my hands. So just my 2 cents on them. And I don't know exactly what brand they were. I threw the packaging away or I would tell you. So I actually am really liking this one, how it's coming out. And it's kind of got, I mean, Alice is in there, but it looks like it's well worn and well loved. I do love the blue, but I actually think I'm going to be done with this one. I'm going to go around it with just a little bit of, I think just black. And, yeah, call it good because I don't want to do anything else to it. I'm liking how it's looking. So I'm going to go around it with some black soot, or you know what? Actually, I'm going to go around it with some archival ink because I don't know. It'll be all right. That's just going to frame that out really nicely. Oh, and now it's looking like just like a worn photo. So I love it. I didn't think I was going to like this at all, to be honest, but I'm really happy. I'm glad I sanded her down and did that to it. So I like that. So that's ready to be put in the little golden book journal because that's the one that she is for. And then this one, I still have to finish this one. And I pushed that twisted citron to the back and it has kind of a yellowy effect, which is pretty cool. And I mean, I could frame this one in the black, but I don't think I want to do the black on this one. On this one, I definitely want to do brown. And let's see how this plays out. I need to get some more daubers because when I work with multiple colors like this, I'm forever taking those off. And I need to go to Dollar Tree and get some more Velcro dots so I can stick them to the back. Oh, that's kind of cool too. I kind of like it. Let's see. I'm afraid. It's all right. Just go for it. Just go for it. We don't know if we don't try, right? That's the whole point. And I really like that. Really like that a lot. I actually think I might call that one done too. Oh, no. We want some gold splatter on this one. Hang on. Well, I got too much paint on my thing, so I put some back. And then I got some on my finger. So I don't know if you guys, if you watched the Defember series, you'll know that I was using my gilding wax for quite a bit. But remember, this isn't a good alternative if you just go to, you know, Walmart or Hobby Lobby, and like this says $2.29, and I know I said this before. I'll tell you right now, I didn't pay that for it. I only buy things if they're like on sale at Hobby Lobby. So I'm sure it would have been like 30 or 40, maybe. They don't generally do their paints and stuff 50%. So it was probably 40% off, which would have put it more in line with like the cost of paints and stuff at like Walmart. So anyway, so that's just going to give us a really nice, and actually that kind of adds to the vintage feel around the edges of that. And I was going to do gold splatter, but I actually put too much paint back in the bottle, but I only want just a little tiny drop because I don't want to waste my paint. Okay, even that's too much paint. So we're going to take half of that and put it back. Actually, you know who has a little, Barbara at 49 Dragonflies has like a little acetate sheet or whatever that she puts her gold watercolor on, and so then she just reactivates it, and I thought that is really clever. I need to do that so that I don't waste my paint. I mean, this is like really not very much, but still, you don't want to waste. I mean, especially, I mean, prices are just going up, and so we definitely want to use as much as we can with what we have. I'm kind of trying to get sideways in the light here so I can see what I've got, and I think that's probably good because it's just a touch, right? And I decided not to do texture paste or anything like that on these because I actually want these to slide in pockets, because I don't want to make them pockets. I want them to actually slide in because the backs of these cards are super cool. So I definitely want to be able to see them. So let's get this picked up. I don't want to mess up the edges. All right, so I've got my splatters on there. So you'll of course see it when it's dry because, you know, we're doing these, building these journals on video. So okay, so that's that for that one. So I'm going to end this video here. In the next video, I'm going to clean up a little bit. And in the next video, I think we will start working on more pockets and tucks and stuff. I'd really like to get this moving along. But I also have another project that I'm working on that I actually can't film. Although my husband's like, well, just film it and set it to release at a later date. So maybe I'll do that. But anyway, at any rate, you still won't see it now, so that won't matter. All right, I'll quit blabbing. You guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye. So I was cleaning up my desk a little bit. This is an addendum, and I found some stickles that I forgot that I bought. And so I added a little bit of purple stickles to the flowers and her dress and a little bit of blue. So I may still add something else to these. We'll see. Ooh, you know what would be pretty? I have an idea. Hang on. Okay, so I got my glacier paste in the white, and I have this is a Dilutions stencil, and it just has this little flower here, and I'm just gonna lightly go over this and add just a little bit of sparkle, because I do like sparkle a lot. And I think, oh, that's gonna really add a little bit of something. I don't want to add too much, but I just felt like she needed something more, you know? And yeah, so that's gonna dry and really give us something to play with. Just trying not to mess up what I've done. And I'm going to use my glacier paste sparingly, obviously. But I think that just adds a little bit of, that's just adding a little bit of fun stuff to it. I don't know if that's even showing in the video, but I like it. So anyway, there's that. I have to go eat something. I took some medication, and my coffee and cookie was not enough for the meds. And I'm feeling a little woohoo. So I'm going to go eat something, and then I'm going to come back and film the next video. But hopefully you can see that. I like it. All right, so I'll be back. Oh, I'm going to end this video here, and then I'll be back in the next video.